This week on Instant Experts, Chairman Dan rolls with the homies in Beijing.
Or is that the commies? The commies.
Trump's not dead, just dead inside.
If only the Epstein files could have a heart attack.
And in sport, a cliffhanger in a Morningstar hotel tipping competition.
And a severe oxygen shortage for Henry.
Hey, I resent that. Welcome back to Instant Experts Axis of Evil edition. It's all the latest news explained by idiots. Here to keep you sane in a crazy world. I'm Henry Lee, and as always, I'm here with my dear friend, the Honk. Honky, welcome.
Henry, my friend, great to be here. What a week. This is a show about crooks, fuckwits and morons. Now, we often point out just how much of a total crook, fuckwit and moron Donald Trump is. And there is plenty of that this week. But if there's anything worse, surely, than being a massive crook, fuckwit and moron, it's getting no respect from all the other crooks, fuckwits and morons. Because, in fact, this week, the crooks, fuckwits and morons of the world had a huge party, like a Burning Man for crooks, fuckwits and morons, for thousands of crooks, fuckwits and morons. And Trumpy did not make the list.
No, he did not. It's like being seated in the corner near the toilets or being in the back right corner of the team photo, isn't it? What caught your eye this week, Honko?
But hang on, it's worse than that, because at least then you're actually invited. You're in a shit spot. What caught my eye? Well, look, it's opportune you mentioned team photos because we are recording in our Melbourne studio this week.
Our lavish Melbourne studio.
Everything's more lavish in Melbourne. It is just footsteps from the beach, the railway, and of course the Morningstar Hotel.
Yeah, it's a great real estate phrase, isn't it? Footsteps.
You always see it in Aussie house ads. I don't know about the rest of the world. You know, footsteps from public transport, footsteps from quaint shopping village, footsteps from schools.
Translation, trains go past constantly and you're right next door to a pub.
Yes, but on the upside, if you enjoyed the Epstein files, there are plenty of kids around too.
Now, we'll get to the Epstein files, Honk. A huge story again this week.
Yes.
And as always, we acknowledge Epstein and Ghislaine as the traditional owners of Donald J. Trump.
Yeah.
But was that your opening story, or was it something to do with Melbourne or photos? Apologies, I distracted you.
Well, it is to do with Melbourne in a way, and photos, and in fact the state of Victoria more generally, because this week the former Victorian Premier Dan Andrews took the opportunity to get a photograph with, get this, President Xi of China, Kim Jong-Un of North Korea, and Russia's Vladimir Putin all at the same time. What the fuck was he thinking?
Well, he was long known down here in Melbourne as Chairman Dan.
How long was he Premier for? It was like 10 years.
9 years, yeah. Just long enough to get a statue. You get a statue if you've been Premier in Victoria for long enough, and he literally is known to have hung on until he reached statue qualification. Anyway, he was known as Chairman Dan, and it turns out he thought it was a compliment, Honk. Former New South Wales Premier Bob Carr was in Beijing too, but he wasn't dumb enough to get in the photo.
So just for some context, this was, as I understand it, China hosting a military parade this week, supposedly commemorating the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, to which it invited numerous leaders from around the world.
That's right, and plenty of whom accepted, none of them from the Western world, but such luminaries as the president of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko,
He made it, thank God.
He's a Russian puppet. It's assisted Russia with the war in Ukraine. I think some of the troops came out of Belarus.
Yes, the president of Iran, a government that needs no introduction for regular listeners of this show.
No, they've basically got Hezbollah, Hamas and the Houthis as departments of the Foreign Office there.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, the real purpose of the parade, as I understand it, was to send a message to Trump that China was not going to be pushed around by the US.
That's right, because Trump's dicked them around on tariffs. He's had his own lame military parade earlier in the year. Remember that for his birthday? Everyone marched like a bunch of drunks.
Yeah, remember we talked about that in an episode where the turnout was so shit that Fox News faked the audio of the cheers for Trump.
That's right.
Very China, by the way.
It's very China, yeah. So Trump's such a moron that he hasn't figured out that him running around saying America first just tells China to operate China first, including by building global alliances that isolate the US and its allies.
That's so true. And Trump was so pissed off that it happened that he did his stupid Truth Socials where he was saying China would be nothing. They would have lost World War II without us.
Yeah.
And he's threatened.
That would have been down to the last billion people. How would they ever survive?
Well, exactly. I mean, you understand history. You're a student. But also, he's pissed off with Putin. He did this pathetic 7-year-old threat of Putin. He said, very bad things will happen.
Something will happen.
I really mean it.
This is the last time. So China's running around building alliances with everybody outside the Western world. They've got the Belt and Road Initiative, in which they invest in infrastructure around the world in exchange for trade advantages, alliances, and other forms of soft power. That's Honko why the president of the Congo is at the parade as well.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because the Congo has tons of oil, which it sells to China.
Yeah, that's the Republic of the Congo, by the way, not the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which is across the river.
That's right, Honko. Very good. The capital cities, Brazzaville and Kinshasa, are like Running Bear and Little White Dove from the old song. Remember that one?
I don't. What song?
Running Bear and Little White Dove.
I don't know this song. Are you going to sing it?
Ronnie Bear, little white dove. Anyway,
I
it's a love story
I reckon
between
you're writing this song on the spot.
two Native Americans. They're separated by a raging river. So
Ah.
that's Running Bear and Little White Dove. That's Brazzaville and Kinshasa, the capitals of the Congo and the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Separated by a raging river and also democracy, surely, because the Democratic Republic of the Congo ain't, right?
That's true, but the Republic of the Congo is not very democratic either, Honk. It's had the same guy in charge for 42 of the past 47 years, and he tends to get around 80% of the votes in the elections.
That's like Chairman Dan in Victoria. Maybe he's just really good. Have you ever thought maybe the guy in Congo is really good?
Maybe he's just
Shows him some respect.
keeping them safe.
But also lots of the stands, I think, were in Beijing too.
They were, yeah.
Kazakhstan,
I think all of them. Uzbekistan was there.
yeah, Tajikistan,
That was there. Kyrgyzstan was there. Turkmenistan was there.
Sebastian Stan, the actor, he played Donald Trump recently. Stan Lee, Marvel Comics, like Spider-Man. Stan Getz, was he there? The jazz saxophonist.
Yeah.
Stan Wright, centre-half forward for Fitzroy in their one-goal 1944 AFL, VFL grand final win over Richmond.
Honky, I'm impressed. I did not see that one coming. And Pakistan, of course, was there.
Yeah, I don't think Pakistan played in that grand final.
No. Armenia and Azerbaijan were at this summit, which is amusing because we covered them in episode 28.
Yes, we did,
a few weeks ago, because they've agreed a peace deal, which includes the creation of a trade corridor named after Trump.
Oh, that's right. The TRIP, TRIPP, right? The Trump Road for International Prosperity and Peace, otherwise known as the Suck Job Highway.
Yeah, or Suck Job Alley. Azerbaijan and Armenia are hanging out with Xi a month later. So they're working both sides of the street.
Or the alley. Well, girls got to work. Girls got to work. Didn't Dan Andrews attempt to sign up to the Belt and Road Initiative?
He did sign up. Yeah, he signed Victoria up in 2018. But then in 2021, the federal government, which was a Liberal government at that stage, Conservative government, nixed it on the grounds it was totally inconsistent with Australia's foreign policy, which it was.
Yeah, which is basically not to not to allow China to take the country over.
And now, Honk, just to be clear, we're not anti-China on this show.
You're a Victorian resident. You don't care for Dan Andrews, though.
No, very anti-Dan Andrews, mainly because he locked up Victorians for a year and put the state an extra $100 billion in debt in doing so, which it's now paying interest on at the rate of over $20 million a day, Honk.
Melbourne, I think, was the most locked down city in the world during COVID. Even more than Wuhan, which
What's that?
pretty clearly where the COVID came from. I think it got 76 days. Although, in fairness, I think in Wuhan, they only had to cement people in their houses and set them on fire.
To beat the virus.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're not anti-China on this show. And the reason we can't be anti-China, of course, is because in Australia we sell $200 billion worth of goods and services to China a year, which is mainly high-quality dirt.
Very high-quality dirt. It's mineral-infused dirt.
It is mineral-infused. And we also sell them a couple of million cows.
Delicious cows.
Yeah, crayfish.
Crayfish like you've never seen. It's got a lot of bones.
It's got
it's got no bones.
Anyway, anything that moves or comes out of the ground, we sell to China. It pays for everything good in Australia, and we buy $100 billion worth of stuff from China in return. So we do have to be nice to them.
But we don't have to support authoritarian governments, whether in China or anywhere else.
Including the US for that matter.
And we don't have to support incompetent state premiers getting photographed with Kim Jong-Un and Vladimir Putin.
Shame, Chairman Dan, shame. Okay, Honk, shout out to listeners all over the world, all over Australia, of course, except for Darwin.
Except for Darwin, yeah.
I mean, my daughter went up to Northern Territory this week on a school trip, so I was hopeful, but turns out they went to Arnhem Land and didn't go via Darwin.
Finally, so I heard the school was flying to Darwin, and she said, fuck.
Maybe we should fly to Darwin ourselves.
We have to.
That wouldn't be lame at all flying to Darwin so we can listen to our own show. Get one listener.
We'd have 2 listeners.
Maybe it's worth it then.
We
It's not lame at all.
Yeah.
Do have instant experts around the world. France, the town of Agay, right between Cannes and Saint-Tropez. Hope that I pronounced that with sufficient Frenchiness this week.
Yeah, after
Make up for my failures with Reims.
Actually, it's not Cannes, it's Cannes, which is near. I've been to Cannes. It's near Juan-les-Pins, and it is also near Saint-Paul-de-Vence.
We've got Corby in the English Midlands, which is just north of Northampton in Northamptonshire.
Get fucked. Surely it's just Northampton, surely.
No, that's what it said on Google Maps, Northamptonshire.
I don't believe
And keeping the Hamptons theme, we have also East Hampton in the state of New York.
You sure it's not East Hampton?
It could be North East Hampton.
North by Northwest East Hampton.
Anyway, we've got a listener in the Hamptons.
Thank God.
And we're happy to record a live episode there anytime.
We have been talking about this.
We have, yeah. In fact, I was having a beer last night with listener, the Great Galicio.
Is he a magician? Who the fuck is the Great Galicio?
Well, he's a listener and maybe a magician on the side.
Yeah.
And he suggested that we do a live episode at the Morningstar Hotel.
Oh, the streams merge.
So Melbourne listeners, watch this space. And maybe the Great Galicio can do some tricks for us.
At least hopefully can shoot Henry out of a cannon onto the street.
Now, Honk, I detect a hint of cynicism there. Is that because you have an apology to make this week and you know you're trying to avoid it?
I, like Edith Piaf, I regret rien. I regret nothing. I apologise for nothing. I am perfect in every way.
Except for sleeping with the hairdryer on, which you did again in my guest room between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. today.
I do our night shift. Do you think it's easy fighting the lunacy and filth we run on this show? I have needs, Henry. Then I prepare for this podcast like Michael Jordan. It's like a little muscle snooze and then it's showtime.
You prepare for this podcast like James Dyson. So listeners, if you missed the Honk's hairdryer habits, we did cover those in episode 23. It's worth a listen.
I don't recall that.
And it's all true. The hairdryer has been blasting all day. Anyway, the apology this week will be coming from the Honk with thanks to this wonderful voicemail we received during the week.
Listen up, Brother Honk. Promised the Hulkamaniacs a special podcast celebrating my life. I've been saying my prayers, eating my vitamins, sleeping with my friends' wives, and making racist remarks here in hell in a cell, but I ain't seen no special. The only special I've seen is Special Delivery Jones, but he's black, so I stayed clear. So where is the real Hulkamaniac special brother? I'm getting lonely down here and I need something to cheer me up, and what's better than listening to a podcast about myself? Anyway, I've got to go, brother. Keep up the good work.
Well, a very big thanks to the listener who sent that in, whoever you are. What say you, Honky?
It was not a listener. It was obviously the real late Hulk Hogan.
Obviously.
That's even worse.
We had been talking about doing a tribute episode to Hulk Hogan. It is all geared up. A special guest is prepared. Just don't feel...
Oh, Henry, it's like this, okay? A woman doesn't need a man's approval to feel validated in her work, but it would still be sometimes nice to feel supported in my labour, which you don't appreciate. So it is coming, okay?
So what, the Honk is going to do a Hulk Hogan special with Ian West Karen? Is that what I'm hearing? Yeah, that would be a
Don't stop verbaling me.
No, but in seriousness, to make it up to the late Hulk Hogan, who obviously is a huge fan of the show, we do have a little Hulk Hogan-related audio at the end of this episode, in fact.
I'll believe it when I hear it, Honky.
Thank you.
Let's get to American Carnage, and there's been some great stuff this week, Honk, including probably my favourite rumour of the year, which was that Trump was seriously ill.
Or worse.
Or better. And possibly dead.
The story was he didn't speak in public or on TV for about 5 full days. And the White House was, if it's possible, doing even stranger things than usual. It was posting old photos, then it was not posting at all. Over 1 million social posts over last weekend appeared believing that Trump was actually dead.
And we were secretly hoping. And he's definitely not well. I mean, he's got bruising on his hands, which has been widely reported.
Yeah.
He's got swelling in his legs because he's got a vein condition.
You can see him walking oddly sometimes on the golf course. Anyway, there were rumours of a stroke.
Not the kind he likes.
The other weird thing was these strange bags. Did you see this?
I did,
Tell us about the bags.
Well, there were black bags filmed being thrown out of the top floor of the White House. It's got bulletproof windows for obvious reasons. They were wide open and they're throwing out what looked like trash bags, captured by some tourists on video.
Yeah, and the White House first claimed that these were garbage bags being thrown out by cleaners because obviously they wouldn't take those things downstairs and put them in the garbage compactor. But then Trump then claimed that, in fact, they weren't being thrown out by cleaners. The entire thing was AI. This was the same press conference, by the way, where he said he had not heard the rumours that he was dead and then talked about the rumours that he had heard in which he was dead.
Go pick at least one lie and stick to it.
BJ Vance, the vice prostate, that was the other weird bit. Didn't he sort of declared himself ready, willing and able to step up?
Yeah, sort of. I'm not saying the president's about to die. I'm not saying that. I just want to stress that I'm not saying the president's about to die. But if he were to die, which I'm not saying he's about to, I would be ready to step up immediately.
He said, there'd be no better experience than for me to have had the last 200 days serving under Trump.
That's right, whereas Kamala Harris's 4 years as vice president didn't count.
It's completely different. And if you can't see the difference, I don't know what's wrong with you. I can't even do the show with you anymore. Real question, BJ Vance what's he doing? I mean, he's got a good track record. He's killed at least one pope.
Yes.
He's killed Hulk Hogan.
He
met Hogan. Hogan died. If he really wants it, I guess he's just not. Even he knows.
That's why they send him away on holidays, so that if he gets too close to Trump, that's curtains.
That's right.
Do you think he'll bring Usher to the White House? Well, he'll probably bring Usher. Will she bring Eric the Viking to the White House?
Well, interesting you say Usher, because there are these rumours that she's miserable and looks miserable around him. But will she bring Eric the Viking? You'd have to assume that he'll have his own wing.
I would think so.
Soundproofed. Waterproofed.
North by Northwest East Hampton wing, perhaps. Brought to you by Hampton Suites, Greenland.
Anyway, so Trump finally emerged, though, on Tuesday US time, for better or worse, to announce that the US Space Force was moving from This is right from Colorado to Alabama.
Yeah.
Because Alabama supported him and Colorado had mail-in voting.
I mean, what a magnificent use of taxpayers' money.
Not since Victoria cancelled the Commonwealth Games $600 million in. Colorado, he's moved from Colorado to Alabama. Alabama's also got mail-in voting. What's the fucking... He also announced that the US had blown up a boat, you see this, in international waters off Venezuela, which he said carrying drugs bound for the US.
Yes, he basically murdered 11 people without charge, trial or evidence, but hey, who's counting?
But by the way, these people, the Coast Guard surely could have just stopped the boat, couldn't they?
Stop the boat, search it. If there are drugs on board, arrest the guys or send them to Guantanamo or El Salvador or
in
Uganda.
In the time-honoured tradition. Yeah.
Congo, Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Either. Both would be good.
The river.
The river, the raging river. But the reason we're rushing through all these things is there's so much madness this week. Trump has also said he's going to the US Supreme Court to contest a finding that's just come down in the last week also by the US Federal Court that most of his tariffs are invalid.
That's right, because he levied them under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEPA, which, as the name suggests, says the president can levy tariffs if there is an international emergency. Otherwise, the domain of Congress. And clearly, there hasn't been an international emergency. He just wanted to levy tariffs.
The president's also got some powers under the Trade Act, e.g. if national security is an issue, a la NVIDIA's chip sales to China.
Yeah, that's right. National security was an issue until NVIDIA agreed to pay the US government and Trump a revenue share. Then it became fine real quick. The national security issue went away. Anyway, it's pretty clear that tariffs are illegal, so much so that the Supreme Court may even decline to hear the case.
Which would be a way for the Trump stooges on the US Supreme Court, of which there are a number, to avoid having to publicly contradict him. The kicker, of course, is that if the Supreme Court won't hear the case, or if it does hear the case and it upholds the federal court's decision, far from making any money for the United States, Trump would in fact owe US businesses $210 billion US dollars.
He actually thinks he's going to have to pay it back. He said he's going to have to pay back the money to other countries. He's so stupid he doesn't realise the tariffs are paid by the importers.
Yeah, ironically, he's so dumb that in fact he ends up being right, because he did say this is going to make money for American businesses, and he may not make the money, but it will be cost neutral.
But Honk, all of this stuff that Trump rolled out at his I'm Not Dead press conference is designed to distract from the real story, which remains the Epstein files.
Absolutely.
Which not only won't go away, they're getting bigger and bigger.
Trump's been trying to bury the Epstein file story for months, despite having made releasing them a massive plank of his election platform, you'll recall.
That's right. He's gone from promising to expose all the Democrats in the Epstein files to claiming the Epstein files are a Democrat hoax.
The surviving Epstein victims, keeping in mind a number of them have died very prematurely, very tragically, like the Australian resident Virginia Giuffre, they're not copying it, and nor in increasing numbers are Republicans in Congress, including Marjorie Taylor Greene.
And she's a genuine lunatic and a staunch Trump supporter, indeed a friend of the show.
We've been very harsh on Marjorie Taylor Greene, and rightly so, because she's a fucking idiot.
That's right. She famously confused the Gestapo, the Nazi secret police, with the gazpacho, i.e. a cold soup. But on this issue, she's standing up big time, Honky. She and another Republican, Thomas Massey, a guy from Kentucky, are leading the charge to force Congress to vote on requiring the executive branch, i.e. Trump and cronies, to release the Epstein files in full, which they've been desperately avoiding.
The House Speaker, Mike Johnson's been trying to avoid it too.
He sent Congress home a day early before the summer break so they didn't get a chance to vote on it.
He's the loyalist with the backbone of an amoeba.
Yeah, and the brains of one
the White House,
single-cell organism.
Max, possibly one cell. The White House itself has signalled that it will consider the push to release the files as, quote-unquote, a very hostile act. So I think we should listen to a couple of bits of audio from the last 24 hours. This first one is from one of Epstein's victims, and there were about 20 of them at this press conference.
The truth is, Epstein had a free pass. He bragged about his powerful friends, including our current president, Donald Trump. It was his biggest brag, actually. And while what I endured will haunt me forever, I live every day with PTSD. I live as a mother trying to raise my child while distrusting a world that has betrayed me. This kind of trauma never leaves you. It breaks families apart. It shapes the way we see everyone around us. But one thing is certain, unless we learn from this history, monsters like Epstein will rise again.
And now here's Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Today he called it a hoax while these women were speaking out and they were saying, we're not a hoax, we're human beings. It's not a hoax because Jeffrey Epstein is a convicted pedophile. Every Republican should be able to sign on to this. Somebody who's a real coward, one of the Trump admin officials, came out and called this a hostile act against the Trump administration. And I take very big offense to that. The hostile act was Jeffrey Epstein raping 14-year-old girls. That was the hostile act.
Now, Honk, we're quick to attack leaders for doing the wrong thing on this show. Basically, that is this show.
It's the whole show.
But we should be equally quick, I think, to give credit where it's due. And well said, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Not words I ever thought I'd speak.
No, indeed. And now Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene are planning to release a list of Epstein clients in Congress.
That's right, where they have parliamentary privilege under the US Constitution.
And if they don't, the victims have said that they will release the list themselves.
Several of us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list of names. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors.
Well, Honk, we don't like to get serious on this show very often, but God bless those women. Their courage and tenacity is amazing.
Incredible.
And we hope they get justice, however cold it is served.
Yeah, speaking of cold, we surely need some quick shots after that.
It's like that great cover of The Onion a couple of weeks after September 11. It showed a scantily clad Britney Spears dancing bikini draped in a python. And the heading was, "A shattered nation longs to care about stupid bullshit again." I think that's where we're at.
Quick
post
shot.
that segment.
Yeah, indeed. So look, just a couple of very brief things. One of them is the announcement this week, if you can believe it, by Trump that Rudy Giuliani is going to get the Presidential Medal of Freedom. This is the same week that he crashed his car, leaving the company of a hooker. Isn't that the story?
There's a lot of speculation. He's got form in that regard. What I want to know is where he's going to get the medal. I mean, surely it has to be at Four Seasons Total Landscaping.
Surely. This is Rudy Giuliani, the once hugely acclaimed prosecutor turned internationally respected mayor of New York during 9/11, remember, who then proceeded to totally fuck his career by becoming Trump's cockamamie lawyer.
Trump, in fact, engaged Giuliani to dispute the results of the 2020 election, and in particular the mail-in ballots, which Trump is obsessed by, in Philadelphia, which were heavily Democratic.
Yeah, he said that was a conspiracy. The only thing was Philadelphia is heavily Democratic, so that sort of makes sense.
That's right. So the votes in Philadelphia were being counted at the Philadelphia Convention Center, which is right near the Four Seasons Hotel. The Trump campaign was so incompetent, it booked a press conference in at the car park of a random garden supplies business called Four Seasons Total Landscaping instead of the five-star hotel.
And then rather than say, guys, we made a mistake, we're going to reschedule this to the actual hotel, they decided to act natural, like that's where they meant to do it. They did the press conference anyway. Is this the one where Rudy's just dyed his hair in the heat, and he just dyed his hair black, and the dye's just running down his face?
Running down his cheek as he's speaking.
But before we leave quick shots, I would just like to honour a friend of the show, RFK Jr., Secretary of Health and Human Services, who this week blamed a mass shooting at a school in Minnesota on the fact the killer was on antidepressants.
Not the fact that he had access to semi-automatic weapons.
But
what would he have done if he was depressed?
I don't know. But RFK Jr.'s anti-vax stance is now blown back even on his wife, the beloved actress Cheryl Hines.
Yeah, from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Curb Your Enthusiasm. She's now been dubbed the marvellous Mrs. Measles. Meantime, of course, on no view will RFK Jr. or Trump or anybody do anything about guns, of course.
Which is the biggest plague in the US. It's the biggest infectious disease in the whole joint.
This week, there was this Trump dinner in Detroit where all the guests had to be taken outside and re-wanted because there was a strict no guns allowed policy.
I thought the guns were supposed to make the event safer.
Well, let's get into it. Entertainment.
The entertainment story that caught my eye this week was Billy Joel related, another artist we both love.
Yes, indeed, yes.
And a new theory has spread online about his famous, probably signature song, Piano Man.
What do you mean, like the true meaning of it or something?
Yeah, so, 9 o'clock on a Saturday, regular crowd shuffles in. So according to the theory, the place he's playing in is a gay bar, and the only person who doesn't know it is Billy.
I thought it was just about him playing for tips in a bar in his younger days. You're saying, in fact, it's a gay bar.
I'm saying that's what they're saying.
Right,
a lot of people are saying. I'm not saying. A lot of people are saying.
Set some evidence on this.
Well, Paul is a real estate novelist who never had time for a wife.
All right, yeah.
He's talking with Davey, who's still in the Navy and probably will be for life, right?
Yeah. So what? So the whole bar knows the gay bar and is basically taking bets on when Billy's going to work it out.
Yeah, it's like the Blue Oyster Bar meets the Sixth Sense, right? Blue Oyster Bar and Police Academy. That one. John at the bar is a friend of mine. He gives me my drinks for free.
Oh my God, this is like is John trying to roofie Billy? He's like liquoring him up.
Even the line, "Man, what are you doing here?" doesn't tip Billy off.
So that line, the lyric which says the system and the microphone smells like a beer.
Might not have been a microphone.
My mind is blown. For starters, my mind is blown.
And Honky, on this broad topic, I have to tell our listeners about the recent occasion when I sent you the video clip for Billy Joel's comeback single, which is called Turn the Lights Back On. You hadn't seen the clip.
No, it's a fantastic song, by the way, if you haven't heard it.
Yeah,
just
brilliant
amazing.
song. And it's a beautiful clip, and it opens with the current Billy Joel, who's in his 70s.
Yeah.
And then it, via AI, magically morphs to a young Billy Joel at the piano in the Piano Man era.
Yeah.
And there's basically a trip through time with Billy with this incredibly emotional song. So why don't you talk us through?
Well, as you said, I'd sleep odd hours, and maybe I was just very, very tired when I watched it. And my wife comes bursting in the door into this dark room to catch me hunched over the laptop in tears watching a Billy Joel video. She's like...
Did the microphone smell like a beer at that stage?
Something smelled like a beer. She looked at me and she went, how come you never want to watch that music clip with me? You don't think I'd like to try that music clip? I've got needs. I got wants. You think you're the only one?
Maybe you should head to the bar on the Piano Man,
I
Hon.
think so, yeah.
Maybe you're the Piano Man.
That's true. Little Aussie news very quickly. There were some anti-immigration marches in Australia this week. Nationwide, about 20,000 people took part, which I guess is not many for a country of 26 million people. They
were bringing some more people in from overseas, though, to attend.
Of course, in the time-honoured tradition of idiot anti-immigration marches, the whole thing fell apart when they were taken over by neo-Nazis.
Yes.
Including this true lunatic called Thomas Sewell, who led this violent attack. It's on video. It's on an Aboriginal group in a park in Melbourne performing a Indigenous ceremony.
Right, classy. The anti-immigration people are attacking the OG locals.
Yeah. Well, Sewell wants Australia only for Aussie citizens who share Aussie values.
Right.
The only problem is Sewell himself, it turns out, may not be an Aussie citizen. Right. He's a New Zealand citizen. So now over 500,000 people have signed a petition. So in other words, 25 times the number of people who attended the march to have him deported from Australia. That's not the weirdest thing in Australian news this week. A couple of episodes ago, I mentioned this phenomenon of some women being hot for Bandit, who is the dad dog character in Bluey.
Right.
That is the Australian cartoon dog family show. But
Yes.
apparently because he's so good with the kids and helps out around the house.
Don't we all?
But I found proof. And now, to be honest, I'm kind of sorry I did. This is an American comedian called Meredith Casey on a podcast. And content warning, it does get a bit, I guess what you say, a bit Bluey.
Have you heard of Bluey? It's Australian. The dog dad, I would fucking fuck his brains out. The dog dad, he's funny, he's kind, he's smart. I have never, yes, okay. He's a dog. And I have never been more attracted to anybody in my life.
Really?
And it is a cartoon dog.
Bandit?
Oh, he's such a good dad. I masturbated to him.
Really?
I have masturbated to him.
Were you imagining you two together? Were you just masturbating to his personality?
I was masturbating to him. You have to hear his voice, though. I was also masturbating to his voice.
I tell you, the story does change my perspective on my relationship.
You're going to stop watching Billy Joel videos late at night and
What do you mean?
clean the house?
I'm going to buy a dog suit. Isn't that the main takeaway?
So you can watch Billy Joel videos in a dog suit.
Maybe, maybe I will, maybe I won't.
Okay, Honk, time for sport. And I know instant experts all over the world have been just dying to know the final results of the Morningstar Hotel tipping competition.
This is really what we've been hanging out for all
year.
year. So the question is, did you go for it, like I said, or did you chicken out and tip all the favourites?
I chickened out.
Oh.
Now, to be fair, I did what I did all year, which is only to tip the favourites, no exceptions. So I figured the crowd knows more than I do about AFL, so that was my strategy.
And how'd that go for you?
Well, it turns out the crowd knows exactly the same as I do. Because not only did I come second to pesky Craig Treloar.
Craig Treloar could be the guy with the Hulk Hogan voice who sent us
the voicemail.
Yeah.
So not only did I come second, I came second with 3 other people.
Oh,
Which means my winnings were divided by 4. And this time last week, there were only 2 of us.
I remember that, yeah.
In second, yeah. So the denominator went from 2 to 4, halved my...
Code for you choked.
I stuck to the strategy,
You blew it. You bottled it. You took the gas. In fact, I reckon you took the gas, blew it, bottled it, blew it again, bottled it again, and did so ad infinitum.
I still won $274, Honky, with which I was going to buy you dinner.
How'd Craig Treloar go?
Well, he actually extended his lead. He won by 3 in the end.
So he didn't choke. How much money did he win?
$1,644, so a mere $1,370 more than me.
It's a good as number. I might go dinner with Craig.
Fine, you can watch.
Wouldn't mind the lobster, cheeky. I would like a champagne for Morons.
I've got no problem.
Great.
I'm sure you'll be very happy together.
We will be.
Maybe you can go home and watch some Billy Joel videos, sing some songs,
whatever.
Throw some tips in the jar.
Whatever it takes. The microphone has to smell like a beer. It has to smell like a beer.
All right, folks, that's all we have time for. Find us in all the usual locations, especially TikTok and Instagram, and please share us with your friends. It really helps us to grow the show.
Yeah, socials, WhatsApp, and so forth. And also, please rate us on platforms wherever you get the show. Also, check out our show notes. We had some, in my opinion, some unusually funny ones last week. I thought, and I can
They're
say
not
that.
usually funny, is that what you're saying?
I can say that because Henry wrote them all. I would never write that many stupid jokes in the middle of the night. You can send us from those show notes, though, which are the rundown of the show on whatever platform you get the show from. You can send us a text from those show notes. We'll read it on the show.
Yes.
You can send us a voicemail direct from those show notes, and we'll play it on the show.
A voicemail direct from the grave, and we'll play it on the show. That's what's happened this week.
Yeah, he's not dead. What's wrong with you? It's a fake.
I am your father.
And do read our show notes, as I said, for some really particularly stupid jokes. Although I thought the ones last week were not bad. But we're back.
Self-praise is no praise. A lot of people are saying.
You wrote them.
A lot of people are saying the best show notes ever.
Yeah, but we're back next week, are we not?
The usual time, of course, Saturday morning, Australian Eastern Standard Time.
Yes. Now, we like to finish, how would you say, with like audio of what would you say?
Well, it's usually crookery, fuckwittery or moronicism, but we had a very nice reception for our proposal outro last week. So are we going with fuckwittery or are we going with something softer and kinder and gentler this week, Honk?
It is, I guess, probably a bit softer and kinder, but it is still very funny. We did promise, Year of Little Faith, we did promise a Hulk Hogan episode
of Little Faith.
a Hulk Hogan episode will eventuate, but in the meantime, I promised a little Hulk Hogan related audio outro.
Yep.
The late great Hulk Hogan, who still managed to somehow send us a voicemail, will be delighted. So this is a stand-up comic named Erica Nicole Clark. Now, why is she significant? Her dad, this is true, is the one and only Mr. T.
Wow.
Of Rocky 3.
Yeah.
You were an 18 fan,
18, of course, yeah.
But he was a little, not always remembered.
Pitied a lot of fools.
He pitied a lot of fools. He was also briefly a wrestler with Hulk Hogan in the 1980s. And this is Erica Nicole Clark's, the daughter of Mr. T's, story of that event between Mr. T and Hulk Hogan.
Enjoy the audio, and we'll be back next week because stupid never sleeps.
Except sometimes between 10 and 2 on the day of the record.
With a hairdryer going.
See you next week.
My dad is Mr. T. Yeah, Mohawk Gold. Most people think I'm lying when I say that, but I'm like, why would I pick him? Like, who the fuck is lying about Mr. T, right? And I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so either everyone believed me or no one believed me. Like, there was no in between. I grew up in a very wealthy neighborhood, so everybody believed me there, because they were like, why the fuck else is your black ass here, right? Like, well, when I was a kid, we lived on the south side of Chicago, and like, I get it. Like, I'm a black girl at an all-black school, and I'm trying to explain to my friends that the reason why they've never seen my dad before is because he's doing WrestleMania with Hulk Hogan. Like, everybody was like, shut the fuck up, Erica, right? And those were the teachers, right? So, this one weekend, went to this WrestleMania event with my dad, and he was partners with Hulk Hogan. The first time I was seeing wrestling live. So my dad's like, don't worry about it. It's fake. He's telling me in this wrestling match with this guy named Roddy Piper. Do you guys know who that is? Okay. So my dad gets into the ring, and immediately Roddy Piper flips my dad in a way, and he cracks my dad's ribs, right? So my dad has to go to the emergency room, right? So me and my sister are crying, whatever. They take my dad to the ER. They bring him back to the hotel room. He's all bandaged up. And like Hulk Hogan's in our hotel room, and Hulk Hogan's doing like lines of cocaine, right? And he still has the yellow shorts on, right? And he's like, T, I'm gonna fuck him up when I see, I swear to God, I'm gonna fuck him up. And my dad's just like, oh God, my ribs hurt so badly, right? And then there's a knock at the door, and it was Roddy Piper, right? And he goes, hey, T, I'm real sorry about what happened. And Hulk Hogan's like, fuck that, and grabs Roddy Piper and brings him into the hotel room, throws him against the wall, smashes the mirror. They're beating him. My dad's trying to break it up. Hulk Hogan's wife, Linda's there, and she's like, Terry, stop, right? And I'm like, wow, I didn't know that was his name, right? So, And my mom is trying to make my dad stop, and they're just beating, and all this stuff is flipped over and shit like that. Me and my sister are crying, and then we get on a plane, we come back to Chicago, I go to class, we're sitting in a sharing circle, and the teacher's like, what'd you do this weekend? And I was like, not a fucking thing. All right, I was Erica Clark, thanks.
It's a pretty good crowd for a Saturday, and the manager gives me a smile, 'cause he knows that it's me they've been coming to see, to forget about life for a while. And the piano, it sounds like a carnival, and the microphone smells like a beer, and they sit at the bar and put bread in my jar and say, man, what are you doing here? Sing us a song, you're the piano man, sing us a song tonight.